Hello and welcome to my mid discussion slash mid theory video of Tatarigoroshi. I don't actually know if we're in the middle or not, but we are. Well, I just finished, or didn't just finish, but I left off right before the Watanagashi chapter. I'm pretty sure, since the Watanagashi's like the next day after, so it made sense that it would be the next chapter. So I thought and usually that's like the halfway point, right? But I heard this might be like a little longer, so maybe it's not. But I think it's a good time to sit down and talk about our thoughts, because I think it's like semi important to do it, and it's always kind of awkward when you wanna talk about it in the video, because you also just wanna get the reading done and then you talk maybe at the end of it, but you're like kind of tired anyways. So I think this is just, you know, give my ideas, put it on record to see if they come right or not. And it's also just good to like explain my ideas so as we continue, I have a focus I want to focus on, and we'll see if it like lasts until the end or not. But yeah, in this video, where it's very loose, I don't actually have a sheet ready like my normal theory videos. But again, it's nothing too formal. Because if I did like something like that, it'd probably take a way longer to make. And I don't wanna stall things too long. I just wanted to, set a nice comfy midway point for how things are going in Tatarigoroshi so far. Obviously, this is a Hojo centered arc, which is great. Um, so thoughts on Satoshi again. I actually before that they in this arc they're really going back to stuff in Anakakashi that was in there, and they're like re-explaining it and stuff and kind of delving deeper into that, which kind of also kind of supports the idea that the Watanagashi arc was more of an outlier than anything. Because, like I said, I believe, whether you think it's Shion or Mion, I believe that it's not exactly like whatever the master plan of Anakakashi, or even maybe this arc. It definitely like deviated from that because of, the way the curse murder happened that year, with two bodies being found and multiple things or whatever. Um, so it looks like it's going back to its route, like how it was supposed to play out. In my opinion, there's not really any proof for that, but I feel it from this. Anyway, Satoshi, I've said it multiple times in videos. I don't think it's a hard conclusion to come to that he might have been the murderer for his aunt. Um, she was beaten to death, and we know from Honor Takashi that during that time Satoshi was super paranoid, and he was swinging around his metal bat. And he was like, they said he acted almost like, or Keiichi acted almost like a T to him, so we can assume that he was very frightened. So it's not very hard to imagine Satoshi committing the crime, it, and then someone probably covering up for him. Like, it could be any of the parties. Like, it could be the village just taking a outsider and blaming on it. It's not too hard, since the Sonozakis, I can imagine they can probably do that very easily. If it's like the mysterious group, again, they're probably very powerful. Um, or the hospital group, I should call them. I'm all in on that, by the way, for now. um, I'd imagine if they have the money to develop a drug or whatever, um, and manipulate Tina Mizawa, I'm sure they can easily do that. And even if you bring the Uishi team, which I don't think so anymore, I've kind of lost my super suspicions about Uishi. But then again, Watanagashi was an outlier. Just because Uishi seemed a lot less suspicious there, it doesn't actually mean too much if he's like suspicious in this one too, because it would match with Anakatashi, which is kind of more, again, more of the standard thing. Obviously, you can't. It's hard to say, since can't tell something standard when there's like only two arcs have happened and you're on the third one. But I hope you understand what I'm trying to put down here. Um, but yeah, if you do think Uishi's evil, you can even explain it with him. That maybe, I guess it might even be the easiest for him to do because he's obviously the one who investigated the crime. He can easily plant plant evidence or lie for Satoshi for him to get away. I don't know why he would do that. But um, but yeah, there's like multiple ways where Satoshi can commit the crime without with the aid of other people. Um, but it has to be with other people, right? I doubt he can convince. I mean, maybe if the guy was really out of it on drugs, and maybe he can convince the person to take the fall for it, but it seems very unlikely. So I like that statement. If Satoshi committed the murder, then he must have been aided by one of the groups. Or he committed the murder and the groups didn't want it to be found out that he did it, planted it on someone, and then made him disappear. Is the other alternative to that, which I don't hate either. It's kind of hard what else to say about him, since I'm sure we'll learn more about him as the story goes on. Um, but yeah, I think that's just the easy question we can ask, and it wouldn't surprise me if we do find out that he was the murderer. Um, and as for Satoko, obviously she's the other focus. She's like still the single character that I think is actually completely innocent. Like I'd obviously you can see Mion and Rena doing stuff. I don't completely trust Rika. She's a little kid, I know, but I don't think she's like murdered anyone. But I can easily see her being like doing some manipulation stuff in the village. Obviously, she does that already with her cute stuff, but I mean like some serious stuff. Um, I think she's definitely more of a powerhouse in the village than she's letting on, because she knows a lot of things happening. And she has this weird like laid back personality, like where it seems like she's just trying to be cute to appease people. I don't think she's like, again, I don't think she's like a murderous person, because she's literally like a little kid. But I don't completely trust her. I guess Keiichi. I guess I do believe Keiichi's completely innocent. Also, obviously he has murdered people in the series, allegedly, not 100% confirmed. But yeah, I honestly don't think Satoko would do anything like super bad. Like the most I can imagine her doing, if there was like some evil act, is maybe she accidentally aided, like maybe she aided in her parents' death. Like maybe she accidentally pushed him off or something. I don't know. I'm just throwing. It has to be like something like accidental, or like maybe she convinced Satoshi to. I mean, yeah, I just don't really see her doing anything. Maybe that could be something interesting that I just thought of. Maybe she like convinced Satoshi to kill the person, but even if in that situation, I could just imagine her like really like breaking down because of her aunt and uncle situation, and then Satoshi taking action, and then she could feel responsible for that. But basically, I don't really have any suspicions of Satoko at all, and it's very hard for me, especially how they're setting her up as they're basically like pretty much shining a light on her character and how she truly is. I and I don't think there's any like really place to hide like her being a nefarious villain type. Um Shion we can talk about Shion. I think she's suspicious. Actually, before Shion, let's talk about Irie, the coach. If you've followed my theory videos or the past ones, you know I have this hospital theory slash clinic. It's more of a clinic theory, I guess, that the clinic people are evil, and like how Taichi visited the clinic in every arc, but they really like downplayed it. Like they only used it in a sentence, and there's all the sketchy stuff about doctors, especially in Anatakushi. Um, like there's a lot pointing to it, like how Mion slash Shion or whoever stabbed Keiichi said they wanted to kill him, but they didn't finish him off, and he got sent to the clinic before the hospital. Like there's a lot of stuff pointing to it. So, and we know that is employed in the clinic. I don't know if he runs it or not. I know he's a doctor in it. I guess he runs it. I think it was his family clinic. I don't 100% remember. But if he does run the clinic, then I have to believe that he's part of the group, the clinic group. The only possibility would be that people in the clinic are evil, but they're working like without him noticing, which seems very, very unlikely because Irie seems like a sharp fellow to me, and he's been presented with nothing but like good intentions, except for like, so like it's hard, I guess, to say that he's bad, but you know, you go with the clinic theory, and he had some sketchy moments, like when he was talking to Mion about her managerial position as on the softball team. It seemed very like like a double meaning sort of thing. I forgot which video it is, but it was like right after the barbecue or during the barbecue, maybe during a hint. That seemed very sketchy. There's also the moment where he commented on Keiichi's house that also like raised some bells. So I can definitely see a couple of chinks in his personality, and it wouldn't surprise me if he was a main, like one of the main antagonists, or not, you can't even really call it antagonist, one of the main group members. I guess the only problem with that is I don't know if he's completely following his mystery guideline thing where the culprit should be introduced, or the main culprit should be introduced in the first installment of the series. But I don't think it matters too much if he's just like a planner and stuff, and maybe he's not actually committing the things himself, the murders himself. So maybe that's like sort of a pass. And then we go to Shion. I do think her suspicious levels, in my opinion, has gone up. Obviously, she's pretty good friends with the coach. She's the manager of a baseball team, which seems kind of sketchy, obviously. I mean, also Irie being the coach of a baseball team, and it all kind of goes back to that one line. Obviously, there's the murders with the baseball bat, which is kind of weird, and the part where the Mion character in part one with Rena said that the manager was coming soon, and I don't know if she gendered the manager, but she would be happy to know that you started liking baseball. So there is this weird connection with baseball. So that puts some points on Shion. And I think it's fine to suspect Shion without completely believing that Shion was responsible for Watanagashi arc, because again, I think it's an outlier, so I think it would be fine for Shion not to commit it, but it would also, if Shion was like part of the group and was the main killer, it wouldn't surprise me too much. Like, let's say she didn't do it in Watanagashi, but she could easily still be the culprit in Anatakushi, because we know that she can or I guess both of them can dress and act almost 100% like the other. And there's obviously where would she fit? I don't know exactly. exact moments or exact scenes where she changed, but if you wanna put her as a murderer, you'd obviously put her where her and Rena were trying to inject Keiichi with the drug. I think I can easily see Shion being the person who did that. And we've seen that like Rena and Mion don't exactly agree with stuff. Like we've seen that little like tension between them, especially in this one where Rena was about to like pop off and then like Mion slapped her in the face. Maybe that's a sign that while yes, Mion is one of the leaders of the village, I guess proxy leader under the grandmother. And I wouldn't be surprised if she did commit some murders, but like not these murders, more murders like the actual Watanagashi murders, like the corpse they found with the body or whatever that in the beginning with the intestines ripped out or the torture stuff. Like I can easily see that. But if we're doing the clinic people's like crimes, you know, split them in two, I can easily see Shion doing it like and with Rena's help. I guess under I feel like Rena can be kind of I don't know about Rena. Anyways, I think Shion's kind of raised her suspicion levels, and I'm keeping an eye out for her, and I'm sure she's gonna get some more time in this because apparently, according to Irie, she was sort of Satoshi's girlfriend. So I think she's probably gonna drop some information on Satoshi eventually. So Keiichi will interact with her. Uishi, I think they're really again they're kind of making Uishi more suspicious, like in Anatakashi, where I thought he was pretty suspicious and he did some very questionable things, which I've gone over a million times. I'm sure you've heard of it before of why I suspect Uishi. This time they're again kind of painting him as Oyashiro Sama's guard guardian? I forgot follower? Harbinger? I don't remember the exact title they gave him, but they're making him kind of aggressive. They're making him scummy. He'll probably have like some good input for Keiichi. Like I said, I can still see it going in the way where Keiichi asks Suishi for help. Um, but yeah, they're really pushing that narrative. Obviously, I don't 100% think that Uishi's evil. I think he's one of the person. He's really just a coin flip in my mind. But he's still on my radar. We haven't seen enough of him though. We just seen that one scene where he hurt Keiichi, which I then just go even in Watanagashi. Like we know that he doesn't really care about Keiichi, and he's willing to intimidate people physically. So it's not too big of a surprise. We just need to see more about Uishi. Rena. She's an odd character. Again, she's going more into her creepy mode from Anatakashi, which she didn't really exhibit in Watanagashi. There's a couple moments, specifically when Keiichi and her were talking about how people are like the opposite of what they appear on the outside, like how Marika's cute on the outside, she's kind of steamy on the inside, and how Satoko's really haughty on the outside. She's more like innocent on the inside, and then like Keiichi was like trying to like, oh, well, does that what does that make you? And then there's just this awkward silence where they're staring at each other. That was like very creepy. I don't 100% grasp Rena's character. I kind of hate saying mental illness because I said that with Mion in Watanagashi. But I think you can probably distinguish them enough to say both people are it, but it feels weird. I feel like if I had to choose one, Rena would be the more. Like Mion, again, you look at her situation, you look at her life as being born the next heir of of a Yakuza family and her sort of love interest not really liking her and her sister kind of stealing him away from her. Like that's like just a lot of stress points to kind of have the breakdown, which I can see fine, right? Rena's is a little different. It might be like more like a little more deep. I don't know how to describe it, but um like we know Rena's smart, but I think it's fine to say that we know Rena is pretty aware of her surroundings. She's a smart person, and the cute thing is 100% just a little thing she likes to do, right? Even in Anatakashi, I'm fine with admitting that, like most of the cute stuff, even though it's a lot more blended into her character, it's probably just an act. Um, and like you've seen it in Watanagashi, where she kind of fates the huas and the repeating thing, and more recently in this one during the argument where she was kind of popping off on Keiichi, then she just said her cute thing in more of a sarcastic tone. And I guess the fact that she does that might symbolize that she's has some mental problems where she feels like she needs to do that to properly fit in. Like we don't 100% know her past, but we do know that she assaulted her friends with a metal bat until they were hospitalized. So there, like I was hesitating to say that Shion, like if Shion was the the culprit in or one of the culprits in Anatakashi, and she would manipulate Rena by saying that this is Oyasho-sama as well, because apparently that Oyasho-sama is something important to Rena, or at least mentally straining. But I kind of struggled because we know that Rena again is super observative, and I think she's pretty smart, right? So I don't know if she would fall for that, but I think she again Watanagashi art didn't have much to do with Oyasho-sama. It was implied pretty much during the whole story that it was done by humans, so that's why Rena didn't have to go a little crazy, because she herself was probably convinced that Oyasho-sama didn't do this. This was done by a human. But if it's shrouded in the guise of Oyasho-sama, where Shion either again pretending to be Mion or actually just being Shion to Rena herself, saying that this was Oyasho-sama as well, I do think that's like some sort of manipulation tactics. So Rena's something to look after. I think we'll need a bit more on her character, but I get the feeling that again she's smart, but she's kind of maybe she's a little insecure. That's why she does all the cute stuff, and maybe there's a deeper thing with her with Oyasho-sama where I don't I don't exactly 100% know what, but like obviously something had to trigger her off. Maybe she heard about Oyasho-sama somewhere, and that's why she beat up her friends with the baseball bat. I don't know. We'll have to look more into that, but obviously, I don't think Rena's like super schemy or anything. Like she's like an integral part of the mystery, but I think she's a piece that can either again be used with Keiichi when she helped with in Watanagashi, or easily be used against her if somebody's like claiming to be doing this for Yasho-sama or something. Mion. Mion seems to regained her normal self in this. She's again she didn't go through this traumatic Keiichi with Keiichi being kind of dumb stuff and the weird Shion reveal since Keiichi just met her on the street. Yeah, not too much with Mion. I don't 100% know what I should think of her. Like, I'm gonna pass on Mion. We'll get back to Mion later. I feel like I didn't talk a lot about Mion, but I don't actually have that much important things to say about her. Tomotaki and Takano, the dynamic duo, the people who always explain something about the curse and then die in the Watanagashi, or the curse murders after the Watanagashi. It's, again, I think it's up in the air whether they will die this time, because there's obviously another clear target, Teppei Hojo, and I think it might be a pretty interesting twist sort of thing if they do the Watanagashi where Teppei gets murdered and Satoto disappears. Then it's more of a, well, we've prepped all this stuff for Satoto, but now she's missing, so it's like a find Satoto sort of thing, which I think would be pretty interesting, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. That sounds like something. Otherwise, like, because you have to think, if they do kill Teppei, who's gonna be the second person? Like, I feel like Tomotaki and Takano are usually like a pair of characters that are always like together, right? Like, it feels weird just killing one and leaving the other. So the only like real logical person to demon away would be Satoto, right? So I think that could happen, and then it'd be interesting. Like I said before, I think it's interesting to if we got an arc where Takano and Tomotaki actually live through it and see how they act throughout the curse situation, because I can easily see Keiichi asking for their help. Obviously, I still believe they're super suspicious, and they're probably most definitely working for the clinic group, especially Takano, who actually works there. And we know Tomotaki, again, it's under a fake name. So I wouldn't be too surprised if they're evil, and maybe that. But it gets murky. But let's just say for them, I do think that they can actually survive this year. It would be interesting if they did. And I'm also wondering what Takano told Keiichi, like, who she thinks the culprit is. And I know the obvious answer is she would say the Sonozakis, but it's never really stated that that's her ultimate conclusion, right? We know that for Uishi, but all it said in the article anyways is that Takano thought that there was she was researching the Sonozakis, and historically she probably knows that they did commit some stuff, but there's never any like clear fact that she suspects that they're responsible for these new murders. So that's why, so maybe that she dropped some information that doesn't have to do that. Maybe she didn't name drop the Sonozakis at all, and that's why Keiichi was so calm with Mion, right? You'd think Keiichi would if he knew that information, even though promising Takano, he'd probably like beg Mion to do something about it. But he seemed like perfectly fine. So I don't know who she would name drop specifically, especially if there's a chance that the clinic group is the one doing it. But yeah, I just had something to look forward to. And finally, just a sort of a small topic that I don't know 100% how I feel about is the role Keiichi's parents play into this story. I usually, like, for the first two arcs, I did kind of just dismiss them as side characters who don't even get a sprite. But maybe that's a bait. Maybe the fact that they don't get a sprite kind of like takes your attention off of them. What if it is what if they are a part of the mystery? We've had attention by Ire. I forgot, I don't have his direct quote, but he said something along the lines of, "Oh, you live in that house? Well, I guess Keiichi Maibara would live with the Maibaras, right?" Like, what? That's the most sketchy thing I've ever heard, and I've been really thinking about what that could mean. Like, my initial thing is maybe that house belonged to someone else, and or it could have been belonged to one of them, but maybe like one of the parents is from Hinamizawa, and that's why they came to Hinamizawa, not for the work, but like, I mean, one of the parents might have like recommended the place, and that's why they're living there. It can either be both, or it can just be one of them, right? It doesn't really matter. I mean, if it's one of them, it would be the wife, right? That's why he like kind of struggled to remember that. Or there's this like what have the parents done in the series? That they were away when when Keiichi was attacked in the first in Anatakashi. They were away. I don't know if did they take 2 trips. They were away when Mion and Rena, or Shion and Rena, brought the mochi with the needle in, and they were away when he was kidnapped and attacked and tried to get like injected by him in Anatakashi. In Watanagashi. Were they away? No, they weren't away when he was stabbed. I don't know. They play a weird role, and I can't exactly put my finger on it if they're integral to the plot. But it's such a weird line by Irie, right? I can't help but like try to find something out, but I can't like really put my finger on it. Like I guess in Anatakashi, we know that the syringe was taken from the crime scene, and we know Uishi investigated the crime scene, and he claimed that he didn't take the syringe, or he didn't even know that was there. Like I guess the only other people who knew about it were the parents, right? Which is interesting. So they could have done it and ripped out part of the note. And I forgot what Keiichi said about, like, what did he said to his parents? Did he say check behind the clock or whatever? I don't 100% know. And I guess maybe it's more likely that the parents would, or a parent would work for the clinic, not the Hinamizawans, too, right? If they're covering for the drug. I don't know. I'm gonna try to pay more attention to the parents, and when the time comes for a theory video, I'll like the end of the art theory video. I'll try to expand on it more. Anyways, this was just like sort of a sneak peek into my mind and what I'm currently thinking about it. Hope you enjoyed. 30-minute video, because it's not gonna be one of those like 2-hour theory videos, but hopefully you enjoy. I guess these are just my basic thoughts going into it, and we'll see if they come to light, or if I was a fool and flunked all of them somehow. I really don't see that happening, but I would be very sad if it did. Thanks for watching, and next theory video will be whenever we finish Tatarigoroshi, whether it will be soon or not. See you soon.